If I come here in our editor and then paste this line of code here, what would you expect here as an output if we hit this button here? And before that, let me even zoom a little bit, just like that, and then it will give me the output here. Just ask yourself, what were you expecting? But even before that, this is a line of code that stayed in JavaScript. Let us know the type of null, and null is a primitive data type in JavaScript, so it shouldn't change. And things like numbers are also primitive, meaning that they don't change when they are being stored in our memory. So what we'll do is that we need to see this type of null, of which for me I could expect that it is null. But when we hit this button here, run, see at the output, and output is object. Object of course is non-primitive data type in JavaScript, and these are some weird stuff that JavaScript have. JavaScript is the best or among the best programming languages, and that's why most popular frameworks like Angular, a library like React, and a framework like Vue are built on top of JavaScript, because JavaScript is awesome and it does a lot of things, and it is one of the best programming languages out there. I know most developers start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but I know these are stuff that maybe you haven't come across and you need to know, because these are things that work behind the scene when you are coding in JavaScript. So let's get into the video and discuss some other things that JavaScript does in a weird manner. So let's come here in our editor and then write something like console.log and then type of something like 5. And here, above here, we'll be looking at primitive data types, those data types that don't change when they are being stored in memory. So this is primitive data types there. And we start with this, a console.log of type null. And when we hit this button, what would be your expectation? And my expectation is that this should be a type of number. So let's hit this button here. And then as you can see, it is just correct. It's a number. It's just our expectation. So let's see another data type, console.log, and then something like string type of, let's say, type of maybe something like name, something of the sort, a string. And what are your expectations? You see, it is a string. So another data type is type of undefined, because you need to see these primitive data types, what are their types. So let's hit here. See, it is correct because you don't expect anything. But when we come here and say something like console.log, a type of null, just like we did in the last video or the introduction part, you find that it's an object, which is very, very weird, because null is also a primitive, just like integers, string, and undefined. So let's go and type the last primitive type, and this is symbol. I don't know if you have used symbol or how you have come across this data type of JavaScript, and it's just called symbol. just like that. And let's hit this run button here. So as you can see, every primitive data types is just correct, but this type of null is object, and object, as we know, is non-primitive data types or non-primitive data type. So let's come here and look at non-primitive data types. So let's say non-primitive data types here. So if I tell you to give me the output of type of, let's say, an object, just like that, what would be our output or expectation here in our output? My expectation is that it should give me a type of object, and when we hit this run button here, yeah, it is giving us an object just like this. And we can first of all comment this so that you see. Let's comment this here, this code here, all of it for primitive, and then we just concentrate on non-primitive data types. So when you hit the button here, you see it's an object, and then whatever I ask you to give me the output of type of, and then let's say array, just like that, what would you give me as an output or answer? So let's hit here at our button and see what it will print in our output here. So let's hit. See, is an object, of which is weird also. And let's see another thing, or the last thing. So we say console.log and say something like function or type of function, just like that. Let's see the output. So when we hit here, as you can see, is a type of function. So JavaScript in a way is very weird. And if you come here, and as you can see in non-primitive data types, they are all like object. And I know you have heard this phrase that JavaScript is a object-oriented programming language. And not that only, you have heard that everything in JavaScript is an object. And this is some of the weird stuff that I have come across in JavaScript. But even before we just look at other things, let's delete or comment this code here, just like this, and see an example here. So if I come here and then let me type something like console, or we can say something like, yeah, console.log, and then say something like type of, or we can just say something like true. Do you expect like true to have properties or methods? It shouldn't, because it is a boolean, and boolean is a primitive data type, meaning it doesn't change and it is not an object. So if we come here and say something like .toString, just like that, and then hit the button here, you can see that it is giving us true, and meaning this is a function that is, or a method in Boolean. And then I wonder, why does Boolean have a method and it is not an object, since if we come here and say something like console.log and say type of true here, and then hit this button here, as you can see, is the type of this true here is a boolean, is not an object, yet you can call these functions here. That's very weird with JavaScript, and maybe you have come across it, or maybe you haven't. And to demonstrate, let me zoom a little bit, just like that, and then let's go here. So, would you call me a liar if I told you that JavaScript is made or is built like this? We have an object which arrays inherit from, and we have function which inherit also from object. So let's come here and I show you something. So let's go back here, and then we can comment this code here in our editor. And then we say something like function, maybe something like name, and then maybe say return something like a name also in a string. So can I come here and say name dot something like id is equals to something like something random like id also, or something like mining. So, and then come here down and say console.log, and then say name.id. What are your expectations? For me, before I know this, I could expect that first of all, function shouldn't have something like properties, because it is not an object, and it shouldn't behave just like an object. But let's hit this run button here and see what are the output. But you see, it has already printed as this my name here, and this is because it acts like it has some properties, and it acts like an object, which is also very, very weird in our JavaScript, that is. So JavaScript is very weird, and I love it, but there are concepts that are made very, very weird. Before I close this tutorial, let me tell you something. So the founder of JavaScript is called Brandon Knight. You can just go and search for him. So he made JavaScript, and then when he was asked about this, like let's say type of null to be object, the guy said that this should be a bug, or this is a bug that will happen, and then even people came with a proposal to change this type of null to be of type null. But a lot of code depends on this legacy code from way back, and this was agreed to be left just like this. So these are among the most weird things that I have come across in JavaScript, and I don't know if you have any weird stuff about JavaScript, and if you have, just comment. So let me stop there, guys. We will cover these topics in depth in upcoming videos, and see you in the next videos.